Okay, I'm here with Matt and Jason, the creators of this new action figure line. What is it called?
Strike Force Alpha.
Strike Force Alpha. So, what got you guys started working on Strike Force Alpha? Can you tell me a little bit about it and what all the figure line will actually include? We've got several new designs coming. I've got one of the 3D printed samples. It's a hand painted sample here in hand to show everyone, and I'll do a detailed breakdown of the figure after we have our little interview here. So, what got you guys started on this?
Do you remember, Matt, who contacted who, or how that first meeting went?
Yeah, I contacted you. This is when you were doing that set with the red laser stuff.
Oh,
it was before you got
okay.
it. Yes, and we built our friendship from there, and just shared our interest of wanting to produce original items, original line. And I kind of just was trying to pitch to you. I was so hungry to sculpt and to work on things, So we just got the ball rolling right there, and I guess we kind of hit it off,
Yeah, I think that's really what got things going. We just had a good friendship going, and a genuine interest in, vintage Joe, and a lot of memories from that, and customizing Joes and things like that. And we just started kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. Also, Troy Osgood, John Kukovic, I know I probably butchered that name. Nathan Ollendorf. I'm not good with pronouncing the names, but there were several people, that had input and ideas, and Matt and I would talk about things and bounce things back and forth. And Matt probably sculpted about, I don't know, it seems like 10 figures during that time, and we were really looking at coming out with just kind of a hybrid, O-ring figure where we sculpted over it and that type of thing. And as we started playing around with things and changing up some of the articulation and some of the ideas, we kind of put that sculpting on hiatus, and we continued to work on the concepts, and then basically getting the articulation figured out. And so we just recently got the articulation finished and got some resin printed samples of that. And then Matt's already completed one sculpt, and he started working on another one, I guess yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. So you've got one of the 3D printed sample torsos there, along with the head, and you're sculpting the figure over that.
Yeah, I kind of used these as a butt.
Okay.
To sculpt.
Awesome.
Yeah. So all the figures will be the same, and that particular character's the Wraith. It's a ninja type figure, and he's got a hood and stuff. But we're gonna try to do the hood separately.
So what's the background of Strike Force Alpha? What's this about? What is Strike Force Alpha about?
Yeah, it's like 20, 30 years in the future, and basically things have started to collapse around the world, and they've tried to put together like a one world government, and that's caused a lot of havoc and stuff. And so some of the nations got together and put together a team to fight, injustice and different things. It's everywhere from on Earth up into space. So we're definitely exploring some of the probably later Joe concepts and things up in space and creatures and different things. But we also want to have a definite military feel to everything as well. So
you're going back with the sci-fi military feel to everything. Can you tell me a little bit about this character here, this figure, the Infiltrator?
Yeah, so he's kind of inspired by a lot of things, from my childhood. Definitely the V TV show or series or whatever, and just different creatures and characters that I grew up and loved, and all the sci-fi movies. But also I think is it Madelman? It's a
I know Madelman. Yeah.
And I always liked that kind of tongue-in-cheek action where you could spin the head around like Manny Faces, and those Madelman figures were like that too. And so this figure, I thought it'd be cool to just add some play value to it, where, excuse me, you actually just spin the head around and becomes the creature, and then you can swap out the arms and legs and put creature arms and legs on it. So I think the military thing, as far as realistic and all that, that's been done.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of great options if you want realistic military and stuff. We were definitely kind of going for the 80s vibe, and also just we want to have some playability to these figures. We want people to get their hands on them and take them apart and mix and match them and make their own characters and have fun with them.
Okay, so the sample that I got has an additional set of legs and an additional set of hands here. So, which I just dropped one of them. I've played with this a little bit. I've popped them apart and started changing some stuff out. One of the things I have not done is take the head apart yet. So the arms make this guy look like a regular human, I guess.
Yeah. So they kind of pose as humans, and everyone doesn't know what their true intent is, but it's going to be revealed in the comic book.
Okay. Now, will that be a physical printed comic book that we're getting, or will that be like an online type thing that we'll read, or what?
We're gonna have some made up, professionally made, and they'll be for sale. I mean, we're not gonna try to make money off of them, but just recoup the cost. So we're having professional artists and stuff to produce them, and they'll be professionally printed and everything. But we thought that would be a really cool thing to get out there so people kind of understand the story a little bit.
Yeah, Strike Force Alpha is its whole entire own universe. So all new characters. It's a great storyline by Jason and Troy. They're really creative writers. So
I noticed that these extra pieces here really add a lot of articulation to the figure. Much more articulated than like an O-ring G.I. Joe, and you don't have the riveted areas that could potentially become weak from the pressure and crack and whatnot. So you've also.
That's the other thing. There's a portion of the figures when they come over, when they're riveted, that are broken. That so you're. That was the other thing. They're riveted backwards. So when you have stuff like that made, I don't know what the percentage is, but you have a percentage of them that you can't do anything with. They're broken right in the box coming from China, or they're assembled incorrectly or whatever. So, but this is kind of also, if you think about like the old Mego action figures and stuff, where everything, they could have Superman on the assembly line, and Superman stopped selling well. They could convert that figure to Aquaman or whoever they wanted. So similar thing for us is that if we put out a colorway and it doesn't do as well, then we can make some more parts and mix and match them and create something different out of them. And so for an independent toy manufacturer making small numbers and stuff, I mean, you have to sell all of them in order to to get the next wave out, the next figures out. So this gives us a lot of ability to mix and match and change things ourselves.
So I've got him here with an O-ring action figure. Some of the parts are interchangeable in these, correct?
The arms and heads are for sure, but there's so many different Joe styles that even amongst Joes, everything's not interchangeable. I mean, you put arms in one and they're loose and they're tight in the other one, but the Outback figure is the one that we use to kind of test pieces from, and the arms and heads definitely work in like that generation of figures.
All right. So were you gonna say something, Matt?
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something. One of the things that you guys had told me about.
I did want to make a point while we were on it. It's kind of funny because early on, Jason and I were talking, and we're like, "Yeah, we want to bring back an O-ring figure," and then it all boiled down to Jason came up with this new body construction. It's like, whoa, wait, there's not going to be an O-ring, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
Not even having the O-ring in there. So, but it feels scary. It feels like an O-ring figure.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, size and everything. This thing was a lot like an O-ring figure. Even as far as like the waist movement and whatnot, it's a lot like an O-ring figure. One of the things that you all had said to pop the head off and take a look at that, so I've done that, and here's what we have. This little piece here. Modern heads will fit on this, and this will fit into a vintage body, correct?
Correct.
So there's a lot of interchangeability here with these figures. They're not just a single standalone figure. Like, I mean, as far as kit bashing goes, you're spanning an era from vintage figures to modern figures with a third party line, a new action figure line as well.
Well, like the human characters and stuff, like the one Matt just did, he sculpted the gloves and the arms for a saluting hand, or you could use it for a salute or a karate chop, I guess. A gripping hand for holding guns, and then a fist. And so, you've got a lot of combinations there. You could have a gripping hand on your right hand and a fist on the left, or, however you want to do it. So, and there's the same with the boots. If you don't like the boots on one figure, then you can just swap it out with another figure, those boots, if you like those better. So when we're designing the figures, we're trying to have the figures have some different options for hands and for boots and things like that. So you get a little bit more ability to swap things.
So I think you guys are really bringing something innovative to market. This is something totally new, in my opinion. You have modern style figures out right now that have additional hands that are available, and we know that there's a big kit bash community and whatnot. But I really think that these bring a lot of value to all of those communities, as well as their own standalone. Whenever you get the comic book out and the comic books going, I'll definitely buy into that. I'm not a comic book collector, but I'll definitely get into it for that purpose, for the project. You have some other figures as well that you're working on. I've seen pictures posted of a lot of different characters and just different stuff that you guys are working on. How many of these have you sculpted so far, Matt?
I am on my second one. I have 6 bucks that I'm trying to get done. The second, just to give everybody a little reveal of the process, as you can see, I use the bucks to work over it. I don't know if they can see that head really good.
Yeah, it's a really clear image.
Okay. So yeah, I'm on round 2, but it's not as easy as I thought it would be because Jason is very critical on me, which is a good thing.
Right.
So we want to be perfect as humanly possible, and of course, there's going to be some, I'm a caveman, so they got the computer guys sculpting and all that stuff. So I'm like John Henry, I'm trying to keep up with the technology.
Well, one of the things, and I love digital modeling and stuff, and we certainly used it. That infiltrator figure is all pretty well digitally done, and it works well. I think with that character, but a lot of modern digital sculpting, it just doesn't to me. It just kind of lacks the soul and stuff.
Yeah.
And the feeling and the vibe off of what we're trying to do. You look at the old '80s sculpts that were done by hand. I mean, they just have they're very simple, but they're very elegant, and they make the point,
Yeah, you're right.
And if you overthink it, and you start going, wait a minute, what is that? He doesn't have a gun like that. What is that ammunition on his side, and how does that connect? If you start to overthink it, I think you ruin the whole feeling. And so I think, one thing that we really tried to do was really capture that feeling and that look and that vibe, from toys that we grew up with and loved and we still collect. And so I think that that can be lost. I'm not going to say it always is lost, but it can be lost with some of the digital stuff. The human face is not symmetrical from side to sides, and a lot of times modelers they'll make one side of the face and they'll mirror it and make the other side. And so, especially I think when you're looking at things like pouches and belts and more organic things, I just prefer the regular sculpting, but it's still not dogging the digital stuff. Like I said, I've got stuff being made right now that's being digitally made, and so I think really what you have to do is look and see what's best to get the job done. I don't. It would take Matt forever probably to sculpt like AK-47 and have it look like an exact replica.
Yeah.
And so that would just not be that would not be a good use of our time and things like that. And so I think when you've got mechanical things or hard surfaces and things like that, the digital sculpting I like. But Matt has done a tremendous job taking the character turnarounds, which are a little more stylized. I really like the art. I really love the artwork, but they're not. It's more of giving you some basic points to follow, and Matt's done a really good job of taking those styling cues and then trying to incorporate it into a more 80s sculpt. And so it's been a fun process. I've been making toys in China for last 15 years and started not knowing what I was doing, and I probably still don't know what I'm doing, but this project we've done totally different than anything I've done in the past. Having the character turnarounds and getting all that upfront work done really helped kind of create this universe, as Matt said earlier. Instead of us just working on a figure and then going, hey, let's make a ninja guy now, or let's make this. And then I think that, like, if you look at the G.I. Joes, at first all the guys in the 82 and 83, they looked like they were on the same team. They did.
There was a cohesion
really cool, between
how they looked.
Yeah. And then as things went on, it started to kind of lose that. I still love those figures, but, I think having an overall theme and story where it looks like these guys all belong in the same world,
right,
is kind of the approach that we've taken.
Yeah, I really like that from the images that I've seen. So, all right, so you have you've got a story coming out that's sci-fi, militaristic stuff going on with you've got human elements, you've got multiple different factions, you've got humans, aliens, and I'm assuming there's different factions between each of those. So it sounds like it's going to be a pretty complex storyline that you're going to have out. Let's see. Is there anything else that you guys want to cover about this particular figure or any of the others? Or are you going to be doing a Kickstarter or some kind of crowdfunding process to get these guys produced, or what?
So, I've already been in talks with the factory that I use and have been using for a while. We've got a very reliable factory to try to get pricing and stuff going for the molds. And originally we were going to do a Kickstarter on the whole line, but another project that I was working on kind of fell through, and we decided to go ahead and make the Infiltrator and the first sculpt that Matt did. And so we're going to go ahead and have those made.
He's a rage trooper, or
yeah, he's rage trooper, and then the Infiltrator. So one of the things that we're going to have to do, I was looking at the designs, and it's a lot more fun to create bad guys. So as we're starting on these sculpts, we have to kind of keep things rounded out so that we've got somebody fighting these guys.
You got somebody to fight the bad guys, yeah. Okay.
But just the bad guys are just so much more fun to work on, I think. And but yeah, we got to kind of hash some of that out. This is a story that's ongoing, and we're figuring it out every day. Matt and I are in talks every day. I'm showing him stuff I'm working on. He's showing me stuff he's working on. We're talking through it.
If I can interject on that too, me and Jason said, if we get these two out there for the people, it'll show them that we're serious and we want to really get the ball rolling on this.
It'll show that you're
Don't
serious and really want to get the ball rolling. We're getting a little bit of an echo here, so I think we're going to go ahead and get this section of the video over with, and I'll get into the breakdown of the figure and show everyone exactly what it's made of in a nice close-up first-person perspective. So
Awesome.
thanks a lot for coming on, guys, and we will do this again soon. Whenever you get more stuff coming out for this, definitely let's do this again.
All right, thanks for talking with us, Terry.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, as I stated in the video interview, this is the in-depth look at the action figure that I have, the sample that I have in hand. This is a 3D printed sample, and as far as I know, this is the only figure whose head is double-sided. And part of the feature with the head is this helmet, and the helmet snaps on. But guys, I really hate to snap that helmet on and ruin the paint that's on here. Matt did such an awesome job painting this figure, but I will go ahead and show you some of the features more close up here. Let's zoom in a little bit and take a look here at, I'm trying to reach around my tripod, but we'll take a look at the features here. You have the swivel arm, much like a G.I. Joe type figure. And you also have the wrist articulation. So this adds quite a bit of posability to this figure. And it's one of the things that I think makes this style really stand out is the amount of posability that you have. The legs, as I showed in the interview video, the hips also seem to have a little bit more rotation than what a typical O-ring style G.I. Joe would have had. But I mean, he's fully posable. And then you can turn his hand, and there's not a whole lot of he definitely has the extra posability. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted. So I saw something out my window. But yeah, this figure will stand up under his own power. His feet are able to turn and look more natural. I say stand under his own power, but he stands alone. I'm working on a cardboard surface until I get Lexan for this table, this tabletop. But here the figure is. He stands right up. And, oh, come on. Yeah. Now, the reason for the articulation in the legs is because you have all these extra pieces, and as Jason said, he's thinking about releasing, I gotta get this in view, he's thinking about releasing parts kits for these figures, parts and accessories, so that you can swap them out and you can do kit bashes and make totally different figures out of them. So we'll go ahead and start popping this guy apart here. And just gripping the elbow, I'll pull straight out on the hand, and you see this has a little bit of a lip on it, and it goes straight into this socket. The only screw I believe this figure will have is in the back. And this one, as Jason and Matt said, this does not have the screw installed, but it would go in here just to keep that torso together nice and tight. And the boots pop off, and it's the same concept here. If I can get the focus on it. Yeah, it's the same concept here. You have this peg that has a little bit of a lip or a ring on it. And these, I mean, they fit nice and tight. So this is actually what the figure had on it when it was shipped to me, was the Reptilian. This is a bad guy for the Strike Force Alpha series. He's an infiltrator. So the feet are right and left. This is the left foot. Pop that on there. Give it a little bit of a twist to make sure that it's set. Same thing here. These 3D printed resin figures, I'm not convinced that we shouldn't be getting a lot more of these for customs. I think they're awesome, but they do involve a lot of work, a lot of modeling and whatnot. And you rotate his head around here, and here you have the reptilian infiltrator. And the slightly larger feet, I mean, of course, he's going to stand a little easier on his own. But here you have the human-looking parts, the boots and the hands with the gloves. All right, so against my better judgment, I'm going to snap this helmet on. This is going to pain me because I know that it's going to scuff the paint a little bit. But, yep, kind of. There we go. The helmet is on. I feel like I'm just destroying this this prototype sample, but you know, it's one of those things. So, but I'll also give a closer view of the neck piece, and I'm gonna grab a modern figure and an O-ring figure and see if we can't do a little bit of kit bashing with this, because I mean, this is an awesome figure line, but I think that this figure line is going to offer a lot, not only to collectors who want a new figure line like this, but who also would like to use some of the parts interchangeably with their 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joe action figures, the O-ring figures, because these parts are interchangeable. So we're going to do some kit bashing here. So the idea behind this head ball here, I've got a, come on, camera, focus. Snake Eyes head. Let's go, yeah, there we go. Snake Eyes head that I'm going to try and put on this guy. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Let's see if I can pop it onto this head ball. And it goes right on effortlessly. It's nice. It has a nice tight lockup. And come on, there we go. So it's not, this particular head is not going to have the full articulation because, as you can see, it's closed down all the way to the back. But you can put a modern head on a vintage figure. Let me get this torso here and I'll put it together. Really simple way to put a modern head on a vintage torso. And this head does look kind of small for this particular torso, but using the Crazy Legs torso, let's go ahead and start pulling the sample figure apart. And not going to show that part, but I will show this part. There are some decent sized locking lugs. There are some decent sized locking lugs inside the torso to keep the two halves together. So, but yeah, here on camera we're gonna do a little bit of kit bashing. So here the torso is together, and let's see if vintage arms will fit this guy. And they do. Vintage arms do fit. That is fantastic. And of course we'll try the 3D printed arms in the vintage torso. And they do fit. They fit very well, actually. That's pretty neat. So the legs will not fit on a T-bar. The lower half of the figure basically will not go together, but the head swivel, modern heads, vintage heads will also work with these torsos, I believe. Yeah, vintage head inside that torso. That actually looks pretty cool. Yeah, all this stuff is interchangeable, at least for the upper half of the figure. Loving the interchangeable arms and legs. And absolutely, loving this. This is a fantastic feature because, like I said, this is not only usable for this purpose, but there will be multiple figure kits, parts kits where you can put together and customize and kit bash all of these Strike Force Alpha figures. With our boy Crazy Legs here. So I know there's a huge kit basher community out there, and these guys love to pick and choose like different pieces and parts from all kinds of different figures to put together. So this is a prime example of something great coming to the market for those guys. And these Strike Force Alpha figures, as Jason said, he wanted them to be playable. He wants them to not be something that's going to break or come apart or whatever. And I think that he has a fantastic product coming out for everyone. So, but again, the lower half of the body does not seem to be interchangeable with the lower half of G.I. Joe figures, and you can't put the lower half of these together with the upper half of G.I. Joe figure. They may work on something for that soon to replace the O-ring system in a G.I. Joe. That would be pretty nifty. No more O-rings to break. But yeah, this looks like a rivet. I'm a little bit afraid to pop this out, but not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Just because I'm afraid that I'm going to break something, and I don't want to break something on this sample figure. It's risky enough just, taking it apart. This 3D printed resin seems to be very durable and very sturdy, but I still don't want to take a chance of ripping something. It is a softer plastic resin. It's a little bit pliable, but in my opinion, this is just pliable enough. I would love to get my hands on some of these figures. I think that they're fantastic. Just the 3D printing, and again, they are resin printed. But these are a master mold, master sculpt. They will be sent off to be injection molded in China. So there you have it, folks. Strike Force Alpha. This is the bad guy infiltrator. That is a breakdown of the figure. When Jason first started talking to me about this line of figures, I guess I was kind of searching for something or looking for something in it that would cross over with the G.I. Joe line, and that's absolutely it. The fact that parts and pieces from this figure can be kit bashed together with not only vintage O-ring style bodies, but modern heads, which is gaining a lot of traction in the collector community and kit bash community. A way to put modern heads on a vintage O-ring figure because they look more proportionate. And I don't want to focus on that so much, but this figure is awesome. There's so much to offer from this figure line. From durable construction and playability, posability, the interconnectedness between this and other figures from the line, the fact that that parts kits will be available. I mean, that's fantastic. He said that they're going to produce the first couple figures on their own, and then they're going to make a Kickstarter for the full line, which Jason, Matt, doing this line, you guys have my support on this. I'll definitely be in on the Kickstarter because I think this is phenomenal. There's been a lot of Kickstarters going around for other figures. Some of them get fulfilled, some of them don't get, some of them get funded, some of them don't get funded. And I would love to see this one funded because I think that it's a fantastic idea. We just had the 6-inch Action Force Kickstarter get funded not that long ago, and those figures are coming. And we can't wait to get some of those in hand and take a look at them too. But yeah, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Hope that you enjoyed the interview and breakdown of this figure. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more videos. There is a link in the description for the Teespring site. Please go there, check out some of the vintage toy tees that I have on there for sale, and make an order and support the channel and help me bring more stuff to you all. Thanks for watching, and Yo Joe.